Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us. We are the Long Island Literacy Coalition. We are a coalition dedicated to promoting evidence-based methods of literacy instruction in the Long Island community, backed by the science of reading. Our mission is to increase awareness about the science of reading and structured literacy practices. We want to reach all literacy stakeholders, especially those new to SOR. And we want to grow knowledge about which programs and practices are evidence-based and yield high gains, and identify those that do not. Tonight, we are continuing our series, Transform Your Literacy Landscape, How to Advocate for Evidence-Based Best Practices. This installment will focus on how we can advocate for the science of reading at our schools. It's important to note this forum will maintain professional confidentiality at all times. No live discussions will be recorded. Follow-up materials and resource links will be sent to our registrants. This series was born out of the need for all interested stakeholders to advocate for best practices. Many schools are not aligned with evidence-based approaches, and the data has shown balanced literacy is leaving gaps in literacy skills for an alarming percentage of students. Tonight's presentation is designed to teach you how to be a polite squeaky wheel at your school district and use every opportunity to speak up for literacy and plant seeds for improvement. Let's reflect on this quote from Pamela Snow. This instructional time belongs to children. We have to think really carefully about how we use this valuable, precious window that children can't get back again. It's not for us to be doing experiments on children. So what is this experiment she's talking about? Well, we all know of schools who've fallen for fads like discovery-based and inquiry-based learning, but there can be no discovery without skills and knowledge first. So if we don't speak up, who will? It's our job to inform school leaders about the science of reading. Institutions of higher education did not prepare our educators in the science of reading, though they're starting to slowly catch up. Many teachers are eager to do the right thing by their students, but they're not in a position to speak up about it. It needs to come from parents and community members. So start your game plan now to get to know the leaders at your school and for them to get to know you. There are many layers of leadership you can engage with this year. Your Board of Education trustees, to the superintendent, to your school's principal. Districts have assistant superintendents and directors as well. Titles may vary by district, but you can look for those titles like curriculum, literacy, humanities, special education, and you could also take a look at what parent organizations exist. New York is a local control state. What does that mean? There are 730 public school districts in New York. 124 of them are on Long Island. While the state education department sets standards for curriculum, the locally elected school boards oversee public school districts and make decisions about budgeting, policies, and educational programs. The links we send you will include a document from the New York State School Boards Association, which outlines school board responsibilities. In other meetings, we've reviewed the new Science of Reading mandate. What this mandate does is it requires public school districts to demonstrate their alignment with the science of reading best practices through an attestation process. There are no mandated programs, though, but they must fill out a survey and include what programs and practices they are using. So if you want to speak up at Board of Education meetings, it's important to know how they work. Open meetings law requires 72 hours notice to the public of when and where the meeting is happening. Executive sessions, however, are closed to the public. They can be before or after the public meeting. The yearly meeting schedule is approved at the annual reorganization meeting, which happens in the summer. You can email your district clerk for the meeting schedule, or you can find it on your school district website. The school website should also have meeting agendas, minutes, and prior presentations. It's important for us to look at any presentation about curriculum and instruction, results from state tests, and district diagnostics and benchmark data. Some schools may have video or audio recordings of meetings. Many schools use the Board Docs platform, which is searchable. So if you want to look up old minutes, you can see what programs were purchased, what vendors were approved for professional development, and how much they're spending on them. You can do your homework and see if its trainers and programs align to the science of reading. An important attendance tip: if you would like to speak, check in with the district clerk before the meeting starts to sign in and get on the public comments list. While not mandated by state law, many school boards in New York provide a public comment period at their meetings. There are usually 2 public comment periods, one for items on the agenda and one period for non-agenda items. Those public comment periods are a great place to share your literacy concerns, but be aware you will need to publicly state your name and address, and it's usually time limited to no more than 3 minutes. It's important to start and end your comments thanking the superintendent, the Board of Education president, and the trustees. Be polite and professional. You could be firm without sounding confrontational. The board cannot address matters specific to one student or one staff member, so please keep specific names out of your speech. Remember, literacy matters affect all students, not just yours. It's a good idea to follow up with an email, which can be a copy of your speech, or elaborate on items you couldn't fit into those 3 minutes. You can write a letter to your administrators, superintendent, and Board of Education at any time, whether you speak publicly or not. Keep it polite and professional. Proofread it and have someone else read it. And it's important to wait a day before sending, especially if you feel your emotions getting in the way. Come back to it the next day and edit it if necessary. A letter to the editor of your local newspaper can be something else you could do, especially if your concerns are not being answered after reaching out to your school leaders. You can share that letter on social media if you feel it could help bring together community members to also voice their concerns about literacy. But be wise and strategic about it. Schools don't like bad press, so use editorials and social media sparingly, and also consider how that will affect your relationship with the school or your students' relationship with them. Want to run for Board of Education? It's important to know what is expected. While you can use your platform to champion better literacy outcomes, you have to work well with others, and you may need to convince them. Not everyone will agree with you. Can you say you've been involved in your district? That can influence if people know you well enough to vote for you. Do you serve on a committee, or are you an active member of a parent organization? Have you attended Board of Education meetings in the past? Can you commit to attending all of the meetings if elected? This includes non-public executive sessions, retreats, and trainings. Remember, this is an unpaid 3-year commitment. On average of over 300 hours a year, you will spend away from your family and your other commitments. Can you keep sensitive school information confidential? Can you attend school events? As a board member, you are the public face of the school district. You will be expected to at least show up to some events, like concerts, games, and plays, and some major events you can't miss, like graduations. Can you commit to serving on committees? Can you commit to all of the required reading, such as school district policies and procedures, contracts and financial documents, and state laws and regulations? Can you vote publicly on school matters? Will your public voting record affect your job or your relationship with your friends and neighbors? You might be asked to take unpopular positions. Should you decide to run for Board of Education, here are some important guidelines. Be aware of the important dates and deadlines. Candidate packets are released in March. Pick it up from the district clerk's office. Nominating petitions must be filed by the deadline, usually mid-April. The date will be specified on your candidate packet. Budget vote and election day is usually the 3rd week of May. You must report campaign expenses and contributions. You're expected to answer questions and speak with voters, including meet the candidate nights, fundraising events, knocking on doors, and asking for endorsements. You'll need to create marketing materials like lawn signs, flyers, posters, or brochures. And you'll want to create an online presence, such as a Facebook campaign page and a website. Other opportunities to be involved include district advisory committees and parent organizations. Advisory committees are just that. They advise the Board of Education. So while committee members may vote on recommendations, the Board of Ed has the final say when they vote about it in their meetings. Each school culture is different. Some schools are really welcome to having parents and community members on committees, while others just keep it closed to Board of Education, administrators, and perhaps staff. The only mandated committee that New York requires parent participation is the Shared Decision-Making Committee. This regulation goes back many decades. The aim of that committee is to improve student outcomes by ensuring diverse perspectives are considered in decisions related to school operations and educational programs. That's the perfect opportunity to give feedback on your school's literacy program. Should your school also have a curriculum committee or even a literacy committee, I highly recommend you ask to join. If they form a committee to update their strategic plan, that could be another opportunity to address literacy. Most schools have PTAs or PTOs. They're essentially the same thing. PTAs are members of the National PTA, which is an advocacy organization. PTOs are independent, but they can advocate as well. They're not just party planners. Become an active member of your parent organizations and ask if there are opportunities to serve on district-wide committees. Some schools ask the parent organizations first before asking the public. The principal usually attends these meetings as well, so being involved in your PTA can help you build a relationship with them and strike up conversations about literacy. Does your school have a SEPTA or SEPTO? They're the special ed PTA. They also advocate. They bring in speakers and workshops to educate parents and faculty, so why not suggest a speaker who is an expert on the science of reading? Reach out to us if you need a list of reputable science of reading speakers. You can also ask your PTA or SEPTA to host a literacy documentary. Some schools may have barriers to addressing literacy. Look for these red flags and reach out to your Board of Education to rectify these. Remember, they are your elected representatives. They work for you. So alert them to problems like parents and community members are not invited to serve on committees. The Shared Decision-Making Committee plan is not publicly available and you don't know how to join. The school district is not transparent with student achievement data. The school district does not post meeting minutes or presentations. Curriculum presentations gloss over the need for improvement. The Board of Ed does not question poor literacy outcomes. The Board of Ed trustees do not speak up about the science of reading. The superintendent and Board of Ed prioritize non-academic goals like extracurriculars and non-mandated programs. Your school district still invests in debunked balanced literacy methods, programs, and trainers. Or the school simply rebrands their literacy curriculum, calls it aligned to the science of reading, without changing anything. We have a handout with actionable next steps so you can be the polite squeaky wheel for the science of reading. This will be emailed to our attendees and linked on our website. Feel free to share our checklist with other concerned parents and community members and invite them to join our coalition. We also want you to share with us how you'll be advocating. Fill out our advocacy action form on our website so we can grow our list of polite squeaky wheels. It can be intimidating to get involved and speak up, but remember, advocating for your child doesn't require permission. It requires persistence. Be courteous, but be firm. Feel free to share this list of resources with your school. With the wealth of research from over 50 plus years, there's simply no excuse not to know about the science of reading. This is not an exhaustive list, and we'll continue to add to it on our website. Don't forget to use these links to connect with us. These social media and online channels keep you updated on our events and resources. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for your advocacy.